Hey guys, it's Blake from Agrifil United and welcome to my newest video. Now when I made this channel, my main idea was Pokemon. I uploaded PBR battles and did some pack openings, but eventually those faded away and I've never really gotten back to it. Since the two Let's Plays I'm doing right now may never see the light of day anymore due to computer problems, yay technology, I decided this is the perfect opportunity to get back into doing Pokemon videos. So now I present to you my top 10 favorite Pokemon. Keep in mind this is just my opinion, so don't feel offended if I didn't pick your favorite. Also, it was really hard to pick just 10 Pokemon out of 600 plus Pokemon. So this list isn't completely set apart from my other favorite Pokemon, they're just the ones I decided to pick as the top 10. But there's still tons of others that I really like. So, without further ado, let's get started at number 10. Number 10, Hitmontop. When Generation 1 was out, I was a bit too young to understand the Pokemon games, but when Generation 2 came along, I was all for trying them. I loved playing Pokemon Stadium and Snap, and I also played my friend's version of Pokemon Silver. This is also around the time when I bought my first pack of Pokemon cards, and the first rare card I got was a Hitmontop. I already knew who Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were, but I thought the Hitmontop was the coolest. While Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee fought with their fists and feet, Hitmontop was unique, and then it spun around like a top on its head and battled that way. I would always pick him in Pokemon Stadium because I liked to use his triple kick attack because it attacked multiple times, even though I realize now that it isn't too powerful of an attack. Either way, Hitmontop holds a special place in my heart. Number 9. Castform. Unlike most kids my age when I was younger, who wanted to be a policeman or a fireman, I wanted to be a weatherman. As a kid, I was always scared of storms. When everyone was getting really bad, I'd be glued to the TV watching the weather. As I grew older, I decided that if I learned more about weather, I wouldn't be so scared of it, so I started reading all sorts of books on clouds and storms, and then decided when I grew up I wanted to be a weatherman. Around this time, Generation 3 came out, and I learned about Castform, a Pokemon that changed its appearance based on the weather. To me, this was the coolest Pokemon I had. It was like it was handmade for me. I really liked the idea of having a weather Pokemon, and to this day I still refer to Castform as one of my favorite Pokemon. Number 8. Whimsicott. Whimsicott is on the list because it's really fun to use in battle. Whimsicott has the ability Prankster, which gives priority to status moves. This is great to combine with moves like Toxic or Stun Spore, and can allow you to mess with the opponent's Pokemon before they even have a chance to attack. I initially didn't think that Whimsicott was too special, as it reminded me too much of Jumpluff, but as I began using it more and more, I've come to realize it's actually a pretty valuable Pokemon to have on your team. It's got a pretty good special attack and high speed. Also, according to its Pokedex entry, it can squeeze through tiny cracks, which is another pretty cool thing about it. Number 7. The Porygon family. I've always been interested in computers because my dad works in the computer industry, and that's why I love Porygon, because it's an artificial Pokemon that can travel through cyberspace. I also like how Porygon and its evolutions represent the changes in graphics throughout the years. It started out all polygonal, and as graphics got better, it evolved to look sleeker and cooler. I also feel bad that Porygon and its evolutions will never be another episode of Pokemon after the Electric Soldier Porygon incident. It seems a bit unfair to just pretend that an entire family of Pokemon doesn't exist because of one incident. Despite this unfairness, Porygon and its evolutions are some of my favorite Pokemon. Number 6. Oshawott. I've always been fond of water starters, and Oshawott is definitely my favorite. Sorry Mudkip fans, Oshawott takes the cake here. He's one of the few Pokemon in the anime that can come out of his Pokeball by himself, and he definitely has a high and mighty personality in the anime, which I think is awesome. And he evolves into Duat, who is like a ninja, and Samurott, who trades in the shell for a badass sword. Out of all the Generation 5 Pokemon, Oshawott is definitely my favorite. And come on, you can't say no to that face. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it! Number 5. Uxie. I like Uxie because it's a Pokemon shrouded in mystery. According to the Pokedex, if anyone were to ever see Uxie's eyes, they would lose their memory. In this sense, Uxie can be seen like the biggest troll Pokemon. If you don't like someone, just open your eyes and they forget everything. Do you think the anime creators would have taken this into account? How funny would it have been to have Team Galactic be defeated just because Uxie looked at them and erased their memories? That would have made for a humorous conclusion. Number 4. Mismagius. Mismagius is one of the most powerful ghost Pokemon you can use in battle. It has a diverse move pool and high special attack stat, so if you give it a Choice Scarf, you can sweep almost any team if you play your cards right. Another reason I love Mismagius is for its debut appearance in Pokemon anime. When Mismagius first appeared, it trapped the protagonist in a dream world and made Brock believe that all the Nurse Joys and Officer Jennies fell in love with him. It was pretty funny to give Brock his moment of glory, only to rip it away when the dream ended. Oh, Mismagius, you so funny. Number 3. Pichu. You may be asking me, what makes Pichu better than Pikachu? What makes him so special? Well, I'll tell you, the first Pokemon movie I officially owned was the movie Spell of the Unknown, and before the movie was the short Pikachu and Pichu. It showed the Pokemon doing things without their trainers, and right at the beginning, Pikachu meets two little mischievous Pichu just goofing off on the ledge of a building. Eventually, the three go on an adventure together and end up in this big junk fort with a bunch of baby Pokemon, and the Pichu were like their leaders. Ever since then, the little guy just grew on me, and I liked how the creators decided to give Pikachu a baby form. And again, look at the face! Number 2. Flygon. I've never been too fond of Dragon-type Pokemon, but Flygon is an exception. You don't see people abusing Flygon online like they abuse Salamence or Dragonite, and maybe that's because of its Dragon Ground typing that makes it 4 times weak to Ice. But if you know how to raise it and give it good moves like Flamethrower and Earthquake, Ice types no longer pose a threat. I also like how it looks. My friends have told me that the red things on its eyes are supposed to represent the eyes of a dragonfly, but to me, they've always looked like pilot's goggles, which I think is pretty cool. Before we go on to the number 1, I'd like to show you my honorable mentions. Eevee makes the list because it's the base for 8 different Pokemon, and it caters to the likes of almost any Pokemon fan. Like Psychic types? Get an Espeon. Or maybe you want an Electric type? Get a Jolteon. And with more and more generations of Pokemon to come, Eevee is sure to grow even more. Next is Shaman, but specifically the Shaman from the 11th movie. Shaman is supposed to be the symbol of happiness and gratitude, so what kind of personality does it have? You guessed it, a snobbish one. Yep, it's the cute and spoiled symbol of gratitude. Plus it can transform into its badass sky form. Finally, there's Victini. Who wouldn't want a Pokemon that brings victory and is said to never lose? Obviously you can't translate that into the games, but come on, it's a pretty cool power. And now, onto my number 1 favorite Pokemon. It can't be that hard to guess because of my channel art for the past few years. Number 1, Jirachi. Obviously Jirachi tops my list of favorite Pokemon. Ever since Jirachi Wishmaker came out, I felt drawn to it. Come on, it can grant wishes. Even though the anime showed us that it isn't exactly the way we all expected it, it's still a cool power. Plus it has a really great typing, Psychic and Steel. This allows it to be incredibly durable and still dish out punishment. I was really sad that I didn't get the event Jirachi from Pokemon XD because I didn't have a GameCube back then, but luckily one of my friends gave me his Jirachi, saying that he didn't use it much. Since then, I've always kept the little guy in me with whatever game I'm playing. Well, there you go, my top 10 favorite Pokemon. Like I said before, this is just my opinion, and there's still a bunch of other Pokemon besides the ones on this list that I really like. If I left your favorite Pokemon off this list, leave a comment telling me why it's your favorite. As always, I'm Blake, and stick around for more Pokemon videos. See ya!